Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee, and I missed my cattle, and I missed you. You know what? You guys are a lot smarter though, and probably better looking. Even though these guys are so fine, they're practically bovine, they don't exactly blow my mind. But you know what? I am glad to be back in Nashville, Music City, USA, making videos for you, reading comments by you, I don't know, cutting down trees to defy you. I guess those of you who are some sort of arboreal gods or goddesses or otherwise deities of nature. But you know what? Sometimes you just gotta come down here and chop a few trees. That's alright. That's just part of the game. So speaking of part of the game, another part of the game is starving and making workbenches. So we're gonna go ahead and make a workbench so we don't starve. I'm just gonna kind of scatter some of these throughout over here because I'm gonna need them long term. A lot of building to do here. Okay. Nom nom, nom nom, nom nom nom. Anyway, so I am back from PlayOnCon in particular, which is my annual trip to Birmingham, Alabama. We're at the Columbiana 4-H Center, which is like a campground with like a hotel and dorms and cabins and stuff. They have a gaming convention called PlayOnCon, and this is the second time I took my daughter with me to POC, as we colloquially call it, and it was a good time. Last time she was only 6 months old. This time she was 4.5 years old. So we actually were able to do all the fun stuff, like archery, which I was proud of her. She fired 4 whole arrows, and all of them went downrange. They went about 3 feet, and the targets were about 6 feet away. But you know what? That'll give us something to work up to for next year. The fact that they did not fly backwards into me or the instructor. You know what? That's pretty good. So that was a good time. Very enjoyable there. She also got to ride in a canoe for the first time and managed to not knock the boat over, which was really good. Myself and Art did the actual paddling. Art Frederick, who I worked with on Pitfalls and Penguins. I always say who I worked with on that. He came up with the idea for it, and then we worked on it together. But yeah, Art Frederick, creator of Pitfalls and Penguins, was there, as well as a bunch of other cool people, including Minecrafters Graphoniac, Duke, whose piano music I'm always tweeting about, Ovi Raptor, who, Duke and Ovi actually helped me judge the Minecraft build competition this year, and the way we do the Minecraft build competition at PlayOnCon is kind of like Iron Chef, where we have like a secret ingredient that all the builds have to incorporate. And I gotta say, these kids are pretty creative. This year I decided to make the secret ingredient lava. And I say these kids are pretty creative. There were 3 children who participated. My daughter decided to watch cartoons instead, as is her right. I'm not gonna tell her to stop doing what she's doing if she's letting me judge a contest. But, we had 3 children participate, and then 1 adult, YouTuber Dolenmeister. And every year, the way we kind of do it is we relentlessly mock the grown-ups competition entries, and then are very supportive and full of praise for the kids' ones. So we justify giving the kids high scores and the adults low scores. So the adults get to have fun and show off the stuff that they want to make, but they're not going to, like, walk away with a grand prize or anything. But anyway, so this year the secret ingredient was lava, and I thought that was going to be a fun secret ingredient because it burns things down. Although some people were smart enough to turn the fire tick off, because the way the contest is structured, we don't like have everything on one server or anything. I just say, okay, no matter what device you have that has Minecraft open or running, just open it up. You can go into creative and just start building. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, so one kid had made a grill that was lava powered with a huge rack of ribs on it, and the winner though had created a lava pool, but it was like a swimming pool with lava in it, and she had included fire potions for people who wanted to enjoy the pool but aren't actually fireproof. So that was kind of a very clever idea. So congratulations to Jill and everyone else who competed, but Jill was our grand prize winner there. And let's see, what else did we do? Oh yeah, I told my daughter if she was really good, she could have her very own set of Dungeons and Dragons dice. And she could pick out whichever color she wanted at the end of the weekend. And she got this pearlescent pink set. And I made her look at all the other colors first, just to be like, because I didn't want my wife to be like, oh, you just grabbed the pink ones and then threw them at her. I was like, no, this is what she wanted. My wife doesn't actually sound that grumpy. So that's actually really hard thing about doing comedy about your family, is like, comedy always works best with a little bit of exaggeration, but I don't want to mislead people that my wife is mean, yeah, because she's not. But it's just funnier if I say it that way. But anyway, this is what somebody actually commented, wait, Joe, are you married? You never mention your wife. And that's a big part of why I don't mention my wife, because I can't talk about her humorously without it sounding like I'm making fun of her. And I don't see any benefit to making fun of her. So a lot of times I'll just not mention her unless it's like immediately relevant to the story that I'm telling. So let's see. We're just kind of leveling some of this out now. Wow, this is a lot of grass. Wait, oh, I did get a silk touch shovel. I must have gotten that right before I left. I'm so tired from my trip. Now normally when we travel with our daughter, both of us go, but because my wife had a lot of obligations for school this weekend, she is a grad student, she was not able to go with us. So that meant that I was on daddy duty the entire, 4 days and 3 nights. So as much as I love the late night parts of conventions, like hanging out with everybody and just chatting and having a few drinks or whatever, I had to forego that this year, but it was worth it to have the experience with my daughter that she is, honestly, I think, going to look back on fondly for a long time. She's already excited about next year and hoping Mommy can make it, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I got a lot more sleep than usual at the convention, which was good. But I'm kind of... Uh-oh, out of torches. I was hoping that I would have some time to actually, read or edit video while I was on my trip. That was pure optimism. But you know what? Just getting to see the people I did was really a most excellent time. Oh, speaking of most excellent times, there was a cosplay contest, and I dressed up my daughter as Bill S. Preston Esquire and myself as Ted Theodore Logan, and together we were wild stallions. It was a pretty good time. I showed her Bill and Ted for the first time on Wednesday night before we left on the trip, just so she'd know what the costume was about. Basically, I already had my Ted costume because I had made it for the Time Warp 5K a few years ago, but I know that, if I showed up at a costume contest with a child who is not in costume, that child is going to say that I'm a bad parent. That's just not good parenting to show up at a costume contest with an uncostumed child. Poor form all around. So, anyway. Wow, this is actually getting pretty well lit here. Okay, let's see. More cattle up here. A little bit of creeper action going on down that way. Oh, this could be lit. This would definitely be improved by that. But yeah, one day we did so many things. I've been going to this convention for years, and I never realized that there is actually a... they have a mini golf course on site, and once a weekend, they do a late-night glow golf thing. And I've never actually gone to the late-night glow golf, but I knew it was there. So this year, I was like, I'd like to take my daughter to this, but it's so late, and, she doesn't really know how to mini golf at all. So I found out that you can actually just rent the clubs from the lodge at any time, during the weekend, for $3. And so then, of course, I'm like, well, if I'm spending $6 on clubs right now, maybe I should go and just buy her own club, and then when we come back next year, we'll bring our own clubs and our own balls, and we can play as much as we want. But, realistically, I don't think that math works out on that. Plus, having to store a golf club all year, because this is the only mini golf course that I know of that you can just, that's not really attended. So I can't just show up at other mini golf courses. But anyway, let's go ahead and take care of this guy. Hey, how's it going? Long time no sword. I like your armor, though. I also like not starving to death. Well, that hitting that one zombie seems to have attracted quite a few others. But let's see. What other stuff could we PlayOn Con recap? Yeah, so one morning we did mini golf, the swimming pool, which they fill up with all these giant floats of like huge, like inflatable rubber duckies or inflatable alligators and unicorns and what else? Sharks. Just like ludicrous quantities of rideable flotation devices. So, you know, in one morning we managed to play mini golf, go swimming in the pool, get caught between a spider and an archer toward the lava. Bad situation. We went canoeing that afternoon, and then just like did the costume contest and a rock band contest where she helped me throw inflatable dice into the crowd while my friends sung a song, parody of Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire, about 10 years of PlayOn Con, because it was PlayOn Con's 10th year. And the basic refrain is 10 years of PlayOn Con, we're gonna keep on nerding until Pac turns 30. But anyway, not a vocalist, if you can't tell. Let's see. This is coming together here. Now, whoa, did not mean to fall into, dang it, despair. No, not despair, just into here. Okay, well, what I'm thinking is, I probably should come back here and just start laying in some sort of pattern. Oh, but I can't actually start laying in the concrete yet, because I went and made this Silk Touch shovel, but I still have to actually use the Silk Touch shovel. That's one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm all done, except for the Silk Touch shovel use part. But yeah, between this and some of the sand that I need to gather, I should be able to make enough concrete to really fill in all of these walls over here. I've also started working on these kind of front castle tower walls. I don't want to use the panels for those. I wanted to use a mix of bricks and other stuff. Here's your public service announcement for the day. Our trip back from PlayOn Con was greatly complicated by the fact that a bunch of ants had decided to move into our car while it was parked there for 4 days. Now, normally ants don't want to move into a car. What good is a car to ants? Well, it turns out that a few days ago, when it was raining really hard, and my daughter got in the car wearing her rain jacket, that all the water that had run off the jacket actually collected in, like, the bottom of her car seat. And because apparently the way the plastic is, if a wet kid, like, she got out of the swimming pool or if she was covered in rain or whatever, it just has, like, a tray at the bottom where water collects. And I'm like, well, that's good to know. I didn't know about it. Instead, I found out when I tried to figure out why all these ants were going into our car. Because ants love water, especially in Alabama, where it gets pretty hot and scarce, or scarce. I don't know how they say it in Alabama. But not enough water for all the ants. So the ants will just climb up into your car and then move in. And they'll go, oh, well, hey, we know where to find food already, and we found some water here. So, I spent, like, before we left, I thought, like, oh, okay, there's just a few ants, and I kind of cleared them out as best as I could. But then when we got on the road, my daughter's like, Daddy, I think the ants are having a party. I'm like, what? You know, and I pull over, and they're just, like, coming out from the cracks between the seats, because apparently that's where they set up their nest, or nests. I think they might have had two in different... Oh, no, I chopped down this, which I needed. So, anyway, I did my best to use a notebook to swat at them, and eventually was able to find a car wash that had a working vacuum. Every gas station I pulled up to, like, had like a vacuum machine or whatever, but none of them were working, which was infuriating. So finally, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna find a car wash, because I know a car wash will have like 10 vacuums, and one of them will be working, because there's somebody whose whole job it is to make sure that people can, like, vacuum their cars after they've washed them. You know, or maybe not their whole job, but, like, that's a thing where car washes have vacuums. So eventually I found this car wash, and they had a really interesting setup that I haven't seen before, which was that after you paid to go through the car wash, they had this whole bay with like 20 parking spots in it for people to vacuum their cars, and it's an unlimited timer on the vacuum. It's it's included with the cost of the car wash. So like normally with like a quarter operated vacuum, I probably would have had to spend 3 or 4 cycles, which would have been like $1.50 for every 2 cycles. So I would have spent like $3 to $6 on it, depending on how expensive the vacuum was. Some of these vacuums are like $1.50 for a few minutes. It's crazy. But anyway, at this place, I spent like $10 on a car wash, which I mean I probably needed to wash the car anyway. And then got the vacuum for the full 20 minutes that it turned out to need, which my daughter loved. Like, there's nothing like, hey, we're going home, except that instead we're vacuuming out the car and like flipping all the seats into every possible position they can go and moving everything around because the car's full of luggage. You know, good times for little children. But anyway, so if you have a car seat and your kid ever gets into the car seat wet, like in our case, once again, rain jacket, which was just like dripping wet, like I had taken the car seat out to dry, but I hadn't flipped it over and like emptied it out. And apparently, because like I knew the fabric on the top was wet, but yeah, apparently it was just collecting water that stayed in there for indefinitely. And so you want to keep an eye on that, especially before you park for an extended period of time in a rural area. But yeah, so let's see. Enough about the bad. What more can I say about the good? Oh, you know what is also good? I should probably grab this sand here. Oh, and there's clay here too. Okay, this is great. Oh yeah, I played a lot of Blockus this weekend because I realized that Blockus, which is like a shape placement game, where you have these little, you have basically plastic pieces that are shaped like combinations of squares. So if you think of like the tetrads from Tetris, except they range from 5 squares down to 1 square, and you place them on a board where they can only touch corners of your own color diagonally. It's a weird game, but if you look for a picture of it on Google, you'll probably get a sense of what I'm talking about. But we played so much of that because it is a game that does not require knowing how to read or understanding advanced mathematical concepts. And so, yeah, my daughter was just like, oh, let's just play Blockus again. I'm like, well, you know, I really want to play Ticket to Ride Asia, but you don't know how to play Ticket to Ride Asia because you don't know how to read literally any of this. It's like, hey, look, it's Shanghai. Well, actually, I don't know if Shanghai is actually one of the cities in Ticket to Ride Asia because I didn't get to play it. But you know what? Also, Ticket to Ride sometimes leaves off really important cities. Like Chattanooga isn't in the American version of Ticket to Ride, even though it's like famous for its choo-choo trains, which is what we in America call trains. I think in Europe they just call them passenger trains or cargo trains, but we call them choo-choo trains here. Anyway, Blockus all weekend long, and then in terms of video games, the only video game that my daughter really liked was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game for the NES, which was in the Retro Gaming Library, and we played a lot of that. We tried playing some other things, like Mario Kart 64 or whatever. She's just like, no, I want to play more Ninja Turtles. And that worked well, because it's like a co-op game where we're both playing as turtles and punching robot ninjas. And basic premise, there's only 2 buttons because it's for the NES. It's you jump and attack. So, not too hard. Let's see here. Okay, so we got some sand, we got some gravel, we've cleared out all this. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about our progress. Well, there we go. That's already looking less dark and foreboding, which is perfect, because we need to, you know, put in the work to make it more dark and foreboding. Anyway, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.